Tema, a city of factories, shipping containers, and the hum of corporate machinery. A place where deals are signed in polished boardrooms, and a voice on the phone signifies trust, a bond stronger than any contract. But in the year 2028, something truly terrifying began to unfold. Business owners across the city started receiving calls. These weren't from strangers, they weren't from obvious scammers. The calls were from their bosses. There was just one chilling problem. Their bosses weren't actually making the calls. Tonight, on Ghana AI Detectives, we investigate a case that didn't just break the shattered reality. This is the story of the Tema Deepfake boss. Our story begins at a bustling logistics company, just a stone's throw from the Tema port. An accounts officer named Ama Mensah was at her desk when her phone rang. The voice on the other end was unmistakable. It was her CEO. She knew that voice. The same authoritative tone. The same hint of impatience she'd heard for 6 years. He told her there was an urgent issue with a container clearance. Customs fees, 180,000 cedis were needed, and they were needed now. No email would be coming, no paperwork to follow. Just do it, the voice commanded. Ama hesitated for a moment. It was against protocol. But she had worked with that voice for 6 years. She trusted it. She authorized the payment. 30 minutes later, the real CEO walked into the office, completely unaware of the chaos that had just been unleashed. Within weeks, the incident at the logistics company was no longer an isolated event. Similar reports started pouring in from all corners of Tema's industrial heartland. A construction firm in Community 25, an import company in the harbour area, a petroleum supplier near the motorway. Each time, the story was identical. A frantic call. A voice they knew like their own. A demand for immediate payment with no paper trail. The money simply vanished. Before anyone could grasp the scale of the problem, the total losses had soared past 3 million cedis. Initially, the police suspected insiders, disgruntled employees, or corporate spies. That was the logical explanation. But then, something happened that sent a shiver down everyone's spine. One of the victims played back a recording of the call for the investigators. And as the voice filled the room, everyone froze. For it was the boss's voice. The laugh, the accent, the specific way he paused to breathe between sentences. It was perfect. In fact, it was too perfect. This is where the case took a sharp turn into the digital unknown. Cybercrime experts were brought in. They took the audio files and put them under a digital microscope. The result was a revelation that sounded like science fiction: AI-generated voice synthesis. The scammer was a ghost, a digital phantom. They had systematically scraped the internet and private communications, gathering every scrap of audio they could find. Old voice notes from company chats, archived radio interviews, recordings from Zoom meetings, even casual WhatsApp audios. All of this data was fed into a sophisticated AI model, training it to replicate the voices with terrifying accuracy. But this wasn't just about mimicking a voice. The criminal knew corporate schedules. They understood the power structures and the internal approval flows. They knew exactly when to strike and who to target. The investigators had a name for their elusive target, the Tema Deepfake boss. It was time to fight fire with fire. To catch a digital ghost, the Ghana AI detectives knew they had to set a digital trap. They collaborated with a tech firm to create and leak fake corporate voice samples onto the internet. These were carefully crafted audio files of fictional financial managers discussing non-existent high-value deals. They seeded these files in forums and data brokers where the scammer might be lurking. They baited the hook and waited. It didn't take long. Just 2 days later, a call came into one of their decoy companies. It was the same AI-generated voice, the same manufactured urgency. But this time, the bank account on the other end was a honeypot, monitored by the detectives. Said, The money trail was a complex web, designed to disappear. It bounced through multiple Momo wallets, was converted in crypto exchanges, and its path was masked by a VPN routed through Eastern Europe. But the final, crucial login point: a small, unassuming internet cafe near the Valco Junction in Tema. The detectives moved in. CCTV footage from the cafe revealed their suspect. He wasn't a criminal mastermind from a movie. He was a quiet young man in his mid-20s sitting in a corner with headphones on, his face illuminated by a laptop screen. There was no drama, no spectacle. When the police approached and arrested him, he didn't resist. He simply closed his laptop. On that device, they found his entire operation. Voice cloning software, massive AI training datasets, and detailed profiles on dozens of corporate executives. And tucked away in a text file, a handwritten note that read, "People trust voices more than faces." His motive wasn't just about the money. He was a student of human psychology, exploiting the fundamental trust we place in a familiar voice. Theorists of the Tema deepfake boss sent shockwaves through the entire business community. It was a wake-up call. Companies scrambled to revise their internal financial policies. Banks issued urgent alerts to their corporate clients. Under no circumstances should voice-only authorizations for payments be accepted. A sudden, chilling silence fell over phone-based approvals in Tema. But the deeper fear lingered, a question that hung in the air of every boardroom and office. If voices can be so perfectly cloned, who can you truly trust? Your boss? Your parents? Your bank? The lines of reality had been irrevocably blurred. The Tema deepfake boss didn't need to break down doors. He didn't use threats or violence. He simply used technology to become someone else, to weaponize the sound of a trusted colleague. In a world where artificial intelligence can replicate any voice with flawless precision, the most dangerous weapon is no longer a gun or a knife. It's familiarity. This was Ghana AI Detectives. This case proves one thing: the future of crime won't be wearing a mask. It will sound just like someone you know. Thanks for joining us. For more stories of fictional crimes that serve as real warnings, make sure you subscribe to Ghana AI Detectives. Stay safe and stay vigilant.